So your wife and your mom don't get along. Let's talk about what's possibly happening here and what you can do about it. My name's Kate. I'm a marriage and family therapist, and I help people restore their relationships by exploring the gray area. The gray area is looking at all parts of things as opposed to only in black or white, one or the other, mom or wife. So let's do that in this situation. Please keep in mind that just because I'm a therapist doesn't mean I'm your therapist, and I know all of the parts of your situation. So take what you like and leave the rest. Let's start from the beginning. Your dad met your mom, and then they had you. Then you grow up playing sports, you're a leader in clubs at school, you've got a bunch of friends, or you're just a cool, quiet guy. You grow up and then you meet the love of your life. She's smart, she's fun, and you're so excited about your future together. There she is. And it's all happily ever after, right? Wrong. Happily ever after is not all it seems, is it? Starting at the wedding, tensions arise. Your mom wants to be involved at the wedding, but maybe your wife wants to do things her way, right? Which you don't see anything wrong with. But at the same time, in your life, you're so used to your mom being number one that this is a big adjustment for you. You don't really know what to do. So you just kind of stay quiet. You kind of stay in the background. Maybe you listen to your wife. You nod along. You agree with her because you agree that your mom can be very overbearing. But this is something that you've known your whole life. And it's just normal to you. And so when your wife starts bringing this up as affecting her and asking you to step in and do something about it, you get angry. Maybe you're just like, no, this is just the way she is. This is the way she's been my whole life. You maybe be nodding along and agreeing with her, maybe promising her you're going to talk to your mom, promising her you're going to do something. Then things kind of just dissolve because y'all get married, the wedding's over, and now you're happily ever after in your own family, right? Wrong, because then you get pregnant with a little baby, girl or boy, whatever, doesn't matter. And that's when things start to happen again with your mom and your wife. Your mom really wants to help. Your wife really wants to do things her own way. And here you are, stuck in the middle again. Now, your wife is starting to realize that you nodding along and promising her you're going to do something doesn't actually change the situation because you never end up really talking to your mom about it. You just either be supportive and kind of hope it dissolves and goes away, or you get angry about it and tell her to stop making you pick sides and that your mom is your mom and that she is who she is and she's always going to be that way. Let me tell you what you really might be experiencing here. There are 4 known stress responses. There's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Now, what you might not realize that you're doing is you're reacting to this situation with stress responses. You're either fighting with your wife, telling her that it's just the way your mom is, she needs to get over it. You're very defensive. You maybe even blame her. You maybe even say, if you were just more understanding, then we wouldn't be in this situation. This is a big one. Flight. You may be avoiding the situation. You may straight up leave and not engage in these conversations, or you might dissociate. You might just go somewhere else in your mind when these conversations are happening. On the outside, you may be nodding, but on the inside your mind, you're somewhere else. You might freeze when this happens. You might just kind of shut down and not really know what to do. Or you fawn. And this is where you may be agreeing with your wife, supporting her, but you're not actually doing anything. This is what stress responses are. It means that your body is in stress mode, your adrenaline's going, and you don't know how to deal with this situation. So zooming out, when you're married, this is your priority, your wife. Coming together as a family is your new priority. Your mom, she goes from being in the passenger seat of your life to the back seat, and if anything, she's in a whole nother car. From a family systems perspective, that is what happens. When you get married, you leave and cleave from your family of origin so you can start your own family yourself. Now, what these responses might indicate in response to maybe your wife being emotional about the situation, maybe you've always had a stress response to someone else's emotions, particularly a woman's emotions. And when we zoom out and look at this family of origin, we may notice that your mom has confided in you about things in her life when you were growing up. Maybe she was very emotional around you and you felt like you needed to take care of her. Maybe you felt like responsible for her emotions. You just didn't know what to do, and so you shut down down and avoid. Maybe you just like really focused on your own life because you couldn't deal with things at home. They felt too suffocating. All of that makes sense. If your mom is overbearing emotionally and your dad was more emotionally neglectful or emotionally absent, maybe he helped you in sports and he pushed and pushed and pushed, but he was not there for you after you lost a game to really sit with you in those emotions, validate you and support you. Maybe he just said you need to do better next time. And so you have all this unresolved anger and you've never been able to place it because you know your parents care about you. You know they love you. They've given you all these opportunities in the world. They want to be close to you. They call you all the time. So you don't really know what to do with this anger. You've just learned to shut it out. These are the responses that you have in general, and especially when it comes to this particular situation. Now, these may be hard to spot because you may be successful in your work life. You may have friends. At the same time, those relationships might not be that deep, and being successful in your work because you're so self-focused. And again, that was a survival mechanism to survive the emotional overwhelm you experienced in your family of origin. Whew, okay, so that's a lot of information. Now, what can you do in this situation? Here's the deal. Your wife and your kid, and you know this, you know they come first, and that's why you're so conflicted, is because you know this and you want this, but you also want a healthy, respectful relationship with your parents. You're stuck and you feel stuck in the middle, even though you know it's not the middle, because you know that your family comes first, and this is a new stage in your parents' life that's theirs, and it's not your responsibility. So how do you actually deal with those emotions and to stop feeling so responsible for everyone emotionally? Because when you grew up with an overbearing, overly emotional parent who was enmeshed with you, who didn't acknowledge your own emotions as separate from hers, you did not learn your own emotions. You felt burdened by other people's emotions. And that's what's happening now. When your wife is confiding in you, you feel responsible for her. You feel shame that she's even in a bad place. And so because you're so stuck in this shame, it doesn't help you see that there are so many solutions and that there is a way out of this. There is a gray area here. What you have to do now is actually identify these emotional experiences. Actually notice when you're in these stress responses and ask yourself what's really going on, so that instead of feeling responsible for your wife and for her emotional experience, you can be responsible to her and hold your own emotional experience while she's also experiencing hers at the same time. It's both. Remember, it's the gray area. It's not black or white. It's not one or the other, like it was for you in your family of origin, because you had to psychically survive. You had to either choose your mom or your dad or yourself. Your brain was not developed to be able to do both. That's the solution here now, is to actually identify your emotions and experience and make space for that, whether that's going to therapy and talking it out and actually having someone listen to you with no agenda, with no objective, as a third party to help you look at your options, to help actually explore how you feel about things, because you know what your wife feels about things. You know what your mom feels about things. You don't know what your dad feels about things. He's just been passive, and a lot of your anger is towards him as well, which would make a lot of sense. But you're entitled to your own space. You're entitled to your own voice. It's 2025. There's no gladiators around, but there is a man in the arena, and the arena is your family. You can do this. Your family is worth it, and more importantly, you are worth it.